Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Swirlpool, the podcast that discusses entertainment for your entertainment. As always, I'm here with the Vortex crew.
Hey everyone, Grim Chorizo here, and I don't know what the hell is wrong with me because just before we started recording, I had a shot of Campari.
Campari?
Yeah, I just saw it left over, and I was like, you know what?
Fuck.
That stuff's so gross.
It is even worse than I remembered. It was so bad. I don't know why I did it. I thought it'd hype me up for this. Maybe it worked.
You were the one that liked that. So.
Well, okay, I liked
gross.
it when we did the video, but I don't like it anymore. It tastes like bad, orangey, shitty cough syrup.
Yeah, it's like...
Does it taste like asshole?
Yes. You know all
I'm
about
pretty
that.
sure we established it's the flavor of ass in a bottle.
Anyways, Fiend here. It's Vortexween, let's go.
And I'm Chris, and just like someone in this film, I have also had sex with the devil in a church basement.
I didn't know we were,
awesome.
sharing, but
Yeah, so on that note, we will be talking about a weird old movie from the 80s called La Chiesa, or the church, I guess.
The church.
So this is one that I brought to these
I
guys.
thought it was like 90, 91.
Oh, is it?
89 is what I thought.
Oh.
89.
89. A good year. I wasn't born yet.
That was a great year. I was.
Yeah, I needed another year before I would grace the world with my presence. But yeah, before we get into the film, which was definitely a doozy, probably a lot to talk about here. I don't know about you guys, but I had a very hard time just even following what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
sometimes.
Right, it was a really confusing movie.
The thing is like I don't want to like give away too much of my thoughts on it, but overall, that was the biggest thing. Was just like even if I liked it in parts of it, it was just like what the fuck is trying to remember. It was hard to remember things because of just how confusing it was.
Right.
Yeah.
But before we get into that too much, why don't we visit the show and tell corner and talk a little bit about maybe something you guys and myself thought was cool recently that we want to share with other people.
All right,
Sure.
you want me to go first?
Yeah, Grim, go for it.
All right, so this is a YouTube channel that it's been around for, I don't know, a few years or something, but I just found it over the past week or two, and I've been watching, it's called, this guy named Rick Beato, and he's like a...
Rick Beato?
Rick Beato. So
Okay.
I guess he's a musician and like a producer and stuff. But he has this series called "What Makes This Song Great," and he breaks down different rock songs and stuff. And he's like a really, real talented, skilled musician. Like he can really break it down. And it, like I don't know, I stumbled upon it and I started watching, and he's got probably like 50 to 100 different episodes of these from all different types of bands and stuff, and
Damn.
it's pretty cool to see the songs broken down. So
is it just like theory based, or does he break down like why, like sort of from a pop standpoint, like that sort of thing more?
I mean, he
All
goes
of it?
into the
Okay.
theory of like the chords and like the actual like intervals and the different type of modes or different
Damn.
scale that it's in. But then he might also he'll also talk about the recording techniques or something, like they layered this part this many times to give it this heavy effect, and they did this and that. I don't know, it's just really
That's
cool. So it's definitely...
What songs did you listen to?
Oh, I mean, there's one on like Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth, Master of Puppets, Metallica. There's Alice in Chains, Them Bones, Blink 182,
So is it-
all the
okay.
small
It's
things.
mostly
So
rock.
yeah, I mean, but there's like
That's awesome.
alternative, punk, metal. I think there's even some like pop and hip hop stuff, but mainly the rock stuff is what I checked out. So it's definitely a cool series to check out. I don't know how long it's been going, but if you're into that, which I know you guys would probably like it.
Yeah,
maybe
I'll check it out.
Maybe check it out. It's called "What Makes This Song Great."
I started recently. It just came out the other day. It's called Outer Worlds.
Ooh.
It's a really fun game. It's basically like Fallout, but awesome.
Oh wait, I know what
You're
you're
in
talking
space, and like you just jumping from planet to planet, and basically it's an RPG. It's really fun.
I've seen screenshots from that, and it looks badass, like aliens
really
and stuff.
really interesting.
What would you say the gameplay is like? What like
I made it play as like your normal RPGs,
RPG?
like and questing and stuff, and obviously with guns and stuff, and
Right.
you shoot plasma. It's fun.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a plus.
It's definitely
Any game you can
do
shoot
your own
plasma.
type of thing. Like you can, it's like kind of create your story type of thing.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, I had a couple friends that were talking about that game, and they were like, "You gonna get Outer Worlds or whatever?" I was like, "I don't know what that is," because I hadn't heard about it, but they were describing it.
It's
Yeah.
basically the guys that made Fallout New Vegas and stuff. It's their game away from
Got it.
Bethesda. and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
So yeah, they were describing it as Fallout in space, kind of, which is
Yeah, it
like their
is.
Torchlight.
It's Fallout.
That's cool though. So it's like the dudes from Diablo going and making Torchlight because they were like, we're
Yeah,
gonna make
basically.
our own version of this again.
yeah.
My show and tell is I've been listening. Well, it's like it's Vortexween first of all, which means it's
Yes.
Halloween time.
Yes.
So things are getting kind of spooky and stuff. So I like found this band, which I had always heard their name, called Acid Witch, and I had always heard of them, but I never like actually listened to anything by them because it was just like there's so many stoner rock bands and there's so many like
Right. I was
I
just
mean,
listening to Acid King today.
yeah, exactly, and they all have acid or witch in their name, so it's like it's ridiculous. So I thought they were like just another run of the mill kind of thing, but I listened. They're straight up just Halloween themed metal. Like
That's
everything
cool.
is Halloween. Like their first album, Witch Tanic Hallucinations, is like so good, and it's just like all Halloween themed. And then on their most recent one, they have a lot of songs that are just have Halloween in the name. So, but they fucking rock, and I really really like that. I can't like even the singing sounds like a witch, so it's not exactly easy listening by any means for anyone who's looking for that, but it's really cool, and there's so many good catchy songs like Rabid Werebitch and
Sounds
What?
good.
and Witch's Tits. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they do use witch a lot in their song.
I mean, these are the names of the the titles, but I just mean like in general, like fucking stoner metal bands, they all sound like they have like if you just look up other similar bands, there'd be like Witch's Acid and Acid King, like he said. It's just like insane how many there are. Uncle
Yeah, it
Acid.
really is. Right.
But yeah, so that's what I'm bringing to the table. Go check out Acid Witch for Halloween metal needs.
Yes.
Nice. Sounds good.
Yeah, lots of cackling. Okay, so why don't we, before we really get into this fucked up movie, do we want to talk maybe just about Halloween horror movies? Let's just talk about horror movies in general. So would you consider this movie we watched a horror film?
Sure. Hell yeah. It's really
Okay.
twisted and
Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely is. It's weird because like it is a horror film, definitely, but it's just
Right.
like I was reading a little bit about it, and originally I guess this was going to be like the third part of
Demons
the
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to
I
be
heard
Demons
that
3,
too.
right? But the
Yeah.
fucking hilarious thing is that it was like rewritten and reworked to be
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the actual Demon series.
right. But do you remember the reason, or did you read about
No,
why?
I didn't see that.
Oh,
no.
well, apparently they wanted it to be like more sophisticated. Like
What?
I was like,
Oh.
yeah, that didn't exactly pan out. It's like ridiculous.
crazy.
Yeah.
I read something that they wanted to shoot the movie in Lorenzkirk of Nuremberg in Germany,
God.
but they did some test
Oh.
shots, but
like a church near
it was abandoned because the town of Nuremberg didn't want a horror movie to be shot there.
well, I
so
don't
people
blame
just
them.
left.
I mean, I kind of don't blame. Nuremberg is kind of like synonymous with some bad shit from the past, right? Like, and in the movie they talk about Nazis and
Yeah,
stuff
they
a
do.
little bit. But yeah, do you guys have like a favorite horror movie other than this one? Because it would definitely be this one if it was in.
Oh,
If
Right.
yeah, we got to rule this one out. But gosh, I mean, that's a
Or maybe not
tough
even
question.
favorite, but like, what do you like in a horror movie, or like, what's your
I
favorite?
know one of my favorites. I'll say favorites. Like it's in my top of like horror movies is definitely 28 Days Later.
Okay.
And honestly, 28 Weeks Later. They're both really good, but like
Those
28
are,
Days Later is where it's at. It's your staple,
yeah,
crazy,
they're
rage
intense.
zombie movie.
They're so
and
intense.
they're really good.
Those were like the original super scary zombies.
Right?
Because they're just fast as fuck. Yeah. See, I'm like kind of burnt out on like that type of zombie movie. Just
Yeah, me too.
Because I watch, but it's
But
such
those are good.
those are the perfect example. But I'm saying like I don't know what like my Grim. Do you have like a favorite off the top of your head or a genre? I suppose.
Well, around Halloween time, I
Subgenre.
always just love to, put on AMC or put on Netflix or, something like just an old horror movie to just kind of have on. So every year, I've always got to watch, the original Halloween is always one of my favorites. I love the
Right.
classic slashers, like, not like,
Of course.
just the original one of each one, like the original Halloween, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that stuff. I'll always love that stuff. But Halloween, the original one, I mean, maybe it's a cliche answer, but one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just so good. As far as like a newer one, The Witch on Netflix is really is one of my favorites as well because of the tone, the setting, the atmosphere. I love that. So I mean, it's really hard to pick a favorite.
Oh,
but,
totally, yeah. The Witch is one of my favorites too. I think the reason I like it so much is it just really feels like dread, like the feeling of dread just overcoming you for like an hour and a half, and you're just like, oh fuck. It's just like I'd say probably my top 2 or 3. I really like Rosemary's Baby, which this film, the church kind of has one similarity to Rosemary's Baby, but and I also really like The Exorcist. That
got
to be like top
Classic.
shit. But I tend to like demon possession stuff, like
Yeah.
Well,
which is why
you like this one, right?
well, that's why here's the thing, like I just got to say I like this movie despite the fact that it's just fucking it's a huge mess. Like oh my god, but it is insane. But that's the main reason I wanted to bring it for this more Halloween sort of themed episode was because I mean there's just endless insanity to talk about in this movie.
Right.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Actually, another of my favorite movies, Suspiria. The guy who wrote and directed Suspiria, Dario Argento, who's kind of like famous for doing that, and he also helped write Dawn of the Dead and other stuff. This is a movie he helped co-write, and so. Actually, I think his daughter is Lottie, the little girl.
Yep, she is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Asia Argento, I want to say. But
yeah.
yeah, I didn't see when I first watched it going in, I thought he like wrote and directed the whole thing, and it was like going to be similar to Suspiria. And it was like so it was so weird and not what I expected at all.
Right at the beginning when I saw Dario Argento or whatever, I was expecting...
Yeah. They put his name on it.
Different. I thought he was the director as well, which he was not.
Yeah, I think he was hands-on with the screenplay, but I don't know about the actual movie itself. But it's like has certain things that I'm like, oh yeah, I can see it's got that like style to it, but a lot of it feels completely different. It kind of felt like, to me, I don't know about you guys, but it kind of had like it's almost like they were ripping off Evil Dead at times.
I definitely got that vibe. The Evil Dead, kind of the goofiness.
The camera chasing people.
Oh, yeah.
And also, the unintentional goofiness. Because I think they were trying to make that... I mean, there were some obvious humorous points in the church.
Yeah, I don't think they were going for complete comedy, but it came across that way.
No. There were a couple times
it was definitely pretty cheesy.
Intense humor at times that I don't even... I mean, I guess we should just... Right off the top of the video or of the movie, you just can tell immediately because the dubbing is just like so bad.
Right.
The overdubs. It's
okay.
ridiculous.
That explains a lot more.
Wait, what do you mean?
I didn't even realize it was dubbed over.
It had to be dubbed. I mean, it wasn't even
the whole time I just kept writing. I was like, "Why is it like this is so awkward?" Like I feel like I feel like I'm playing Sonic Adventure 2 here or something, where the the dialogue is like cutting over
like
each
Sonic
other.
Adventure.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense that it was dubbed over. I didn't even think about it.
I mean, okay, I didn't actually read that, but just watching it, you have it.
No,
okay, maybe.
Now that you say
Maybe
that,
it wasn't.
It had to have been because they're but
Well, I mean, they did film it in Germany, so maybe.
Yeah, or I thought they filmed it in Italy,
It's
like Rome.
Italian. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like maybe a lot of the actors, like he was saying, had accents, so they just ADR'd it, you know. But it's also possible that they had the same actors go. But sometimes it seems like they aren't even trying to match the lips at all, which I normally don't, give a shit about that in movies when they're like foreign or whatever. But this just feels like an American horror movie with like purposely bad dubbing in it.
Yeah.
So it's really ridiculous.
Before we dive right into the actual movie, I do have to say the poster looks amazing. If you guys saw the like cover, I just think it looks really, really awesome. I don't know if you guys saw that on the screen.
The aesthetics of the movie and the poster as well. Like just everything about it is fucking cool. Like, I mean, the church, like the way it functions and like the mechanics of it and stuff, and really all the imagery and stuff is really sick. Like the church itself is awesome.
I really like the way the church was built, actually.
I'm definitely saying if there's anything to knock the movie, like it's definitely not the visuals. The aesthetics of it are really cool with the sort of gothic shit going on. We should probably just run down the plot, right? This is like there's a lot to get through here.
Yeah, should we just run this thing down?
Yeah, I think so. Let's open this accursed tomb below a gothic church called the church.
So the movie begins, and I'm like, okay, are we in Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Yeah, it's immediately what I thought.
Even the music. I
was like, dude, this is Monty Python. This is Holy Grail.
It's very
Except they
Holy
have actual
Grail-esque.
horses instead of coconuts.
Well, yeah, I didn't think it was going to start, like, in the Dark Ages with knights and stuff. I was really like,
yeah,
where are we going with this movie? Like,
I don't think the movie quite knew it was, but yeah, like it starts even with the like, she's a witch. It's like all just hilariously tight. It feels like it could be like a dark offshoot of Monty Python, and at any moment,
right.
Arthur would roll up.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
But that's the thing, the music playing during the pillaging and the murdering of all the villagers. It sounds like the music in Rocky Horror when Rocky is like running away.
Oh my god, it does. It really does.
Yeah. Because it's just a synthesizer. Yeah, it's just an arpeggiator like on full blast. It's going like it's kind of like Bob O'Reilly too. It's just so funny. Oh god. Really the music in this also I read was apparently they got Keith Emerson, from Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh, really?
Synth guy, and they were like, he's like, I want to make music for this, and they're like, okay, and then it like was so bad, the music, that they only used like a couple of the songs, and I don't know if that's one terrible. Of them, because Goblin, like I love the band Goblin, they did music for Suspiria and a ton of other of Dario's related works, and it's just really good like prog rock, and none of it, the music in this sounds like Goblin to me. It just sounds like it sounds bad for the most part. But yeah, that music just did not fit that scene at all. I had to burst out laughing when they were like kicking the heads around, like
oh my god, yeah,
it was soccer, and they had a woman.
The horse is just walking over it.
Well, yeah, there was one time I swear a mother like put a baby under a basket, and then a horse just stomps the shit out of the basket. I was like, what the fuck? And there was there was a part that made me just laugh when they had a lady like just naked, like being dragged on. Like,
yes, that was the best part. There's just like random tits. Like
it was random,
just like dead random naked lady.
Random death titties that were just being dragged through the. It was so weird, and it made no sense because
it was so bad.
And then there's the little weird child wearing a basket.
Well, first off, let's talk about how the movie starts. So
yeah, maybe we shouldn't.
They're apparently I guess, but like they're apparently possessed or something. I don't know why they're starting to kill them all.
What I think it is,
what it is, like they've got a disease or something. It's like the Black Plague or something. I don't know.
What I think it was. they're like the Teutonic Knights, and they're religious knights, like Crusader kind of style, right? And they're coming in and they're just killing them because they think they're like devil worshippers, is what I thought.
But no, they've all have a mark of some sort.
Yeah,
and they all go crazy.
Well, that's
somehow. I don't know.
That's the thing. Like, it's kind of left up in that's the confusing thing about this movie.
Like at the beginning, you don't really know why. All you know is that this chick has this cross on her foot, and then she gets killed, and you're like,
right?
Oh, okay.
Well, and I think they kind of do this thing where they lead you to believe that like the Teutonic Knights are like these crazy, evil people who just murder.
But no, they're doing good. They're doing good.
Well, that's the thing is you come to find basically. I don't know.
By the end of the film,
what is this movie?
By the end of the film, they did the right thing.
Well, hold on. We'll discuss that when we get there because I have a different.
This could be like a Silent Hill situation.
Oh, shit.
I have a. We'll get to that then.
Silent Hill movie, but yeah.
I like how they built a church on top of all these dead people.
Yeah, they basically just
like right at the beginning,
like a fucking.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think the idea, right, was like they're like just okay, fuck, we just sealed all these demons in this hole. So how do you keep them in? We'll just build a fucking church on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the most holy land ever.
Seems legit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but it's this weird thing where this church is like it's the only people buried there and known to people are the people who built it. So that's mysterious.
They've lived for like thousands of years. Also, I want to point out that it did call out the time skip.
Oh,
it was obvious. It was like, where is this going? This has got to go to the future or something. Like what?
Yeah, I mean, if it had been in the Dark Ages the whole time, I don't even like. That would be
couldn't have taken it serious at all.
Yeah, it was so fucking goofy. But yeah, speaking of the time skip, right? So it goes basically from that, and then it kind of does a shot like through the whole church, right? Where it kind of shows you the whole.
They bury them, and then like it kind of progresses through time how the church was built.
That was really cool
on top of each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I actually liked seeing and then the cool thing with the church that I like is that you kind of get a sense for like the physical layout of everything, like how it all comes together just from that shot, and I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, so then we're introduced to our like who we think are our sort of main characters. Yeah, one is like.
So the shot comes in, and they're going through the church, and you got the guy walking in.
Yeah, that's Evan.
Evan.
Well, okay, was he also the knight in the beginning?
I don't fucking know. That's a good question.
They look similar.
Oh, okay.
I know a lot of the characters played other characters from the past too. As far as
that's highly
he could
I don't know if they were like reincarnations or something, but like he looks like the knight.
I'd have to see it again. Real quick, before we get past that opening sequence, I forgot to mention it. That night.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
One of the earliest funny parts. I mean, there's so much funny stuff in that first 10 minutes of them just slaughtering everyone.
That's the face.
But where the girl says, "You won't hurt me, will you?"
Oh,
and then he literally proceeds to just crush her hand.
He caresses her face first,
and then squeezes it, and she bleeds out her like eyes and shit. I just
the crazy thing was,
will you?
The crazy thing was it looked like it just squirted out of his hand. Like he had catch. It was so bad. Yeah. I just love how fast that escalated. Basically.
Yeah. I just had to jump back to that because I thought
he didn't even look at her foot till after he fucking killed her too. Like that was that was shitty.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So he walks in the church and that lady drops something on him, basically.
Yeah, that's Lisa.
Lisa.
So Evan is a librarian. It's his first day on the job.
First day on the job.
In the church, she's restoring all these frescoes and artwork in the church that are dilapidated and rotting. So her job is like painting, and so of course these two meet and like they just immediately want to fuck each other.
Yeah, like literally.
Yeah, the vibe is there.
Yeah, it's like goddamn, like what the hell.
They meet within 2 minutes. He's like, "Want to get coffee?" Sure. Yeah. Like they just met. All that happened is she dropped something on him, and that was.
But they have so much in common. They have so much in common. They both love church.
The coworkers. They gotta figure their things out, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like any sitcom. But yeah, so she's like doing her job.
She's
her
doing something with a
thing.
mural, which I have to say that mural is creepy as fuck. I don't remember
She's
exactly what it was, but didn't it look pretty damn creepy?
It was really creepy.
All the murals show all the demons and shit that are gonna come out eventually if you aren't careful.
pretty disturbing.
Yeah, it's
that
up.
mural comes into play later on.
Yeah, that's true.
Guys...
Yeah, there's a lot that like is for. I mean, you don't really think about it as foreshadowing, but yeah, she's trying to fix up like a statue or something in the catacombs, the tombs below.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. Well, she's trying to do something, but like it keeps cracking, and she's like, if we keep continuing, it's gonna fall.
Yeah, basically they're restoring it. This is what I don't understand. They were doing restoration with a jackhammer, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's like, and they're jacking like into the floor of this like sacred place, and they're like, you hear that? There's a big old cave down there. And she's like, yeah, we have to stop or this whole thing is gonna fall apart. Right. And he's like, well, that shouldn't be your job. That's someone else's job. And she's like, no, but it is my job. I got to do this. But she basically finds a sort of ancient parchment.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Just straight up Castlevania style, like in the wall. There's just, move this brick and there's some sort of magical thing in the wall. And she's a total bootlicker and is like, I got to get this to the
it looks like a piece of paper in the wall and she just kind of like pulls on it.
That was gross to me. I don't know how you
like it looked skin or something.
She kept playing with it, and I was like, just pull it out. Like, don't
get it over with.
Weird rubby. Yeah. So she gets that, and she's like, I better show this to the bishop because obviously it's important. And Evan, who's just a total, I don't know. I don't really like Evan. He kind of comes off like a dick.
Let's talk about Evan here. So on his first day, he's late to work. He goes in. First thing he does when he gets into his library office or whatever is there's this little girl there, younger girl, Lottie. She's there, and the first thing I'm like, okay, this is creepy as hell. He goes under the table with her, and I don't know. I just think it's probably not a good idea to be on the ground talking to some young girl under a table. And
it's not good etiquette on the job.
I guess they're in a church, so a lot of.
Oh yeah, real safe for kids in churches.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Is it's commonplace there, right? But And second of all, what the hell is she doing with that marble? She just like puts it up to his ear, and rubs it down. I don't know. It was just weird.
Kids are weird. That's like what they're. She's a weirdo. He's super fucking weird.
Yeah, you don't go under
Everyone
the table
in the
and
movie
just talk
is
to a
weird.
little girl. I don't know. I mean, I know
you can, but it's not recommended.
Yeah. So then the old pastor guy comes in, or the bishop or whatever, and
bishop.
Right off the bat, I'm like, all right, he's got to be evil, right? I mean, look at him. Like he looks.
Yeah, kind of is. He looks scary.
I mean, he basically. Yeah, I mean, he is the de facto. There's a lot of cartoony old people in this movie, and he's definitely one of them. Where he's just a Disney kind of man. If that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Very Disney.
Very, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, almost everyone has this because of the dubbing, they all have cartoon voices.
Actually, I don't think it's dubbed.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I have it running in the background on mute, and it looks fine to me.
It's on mute.
Totally speaking English.
No, you're right, because I thought about that, but certain things.
Sorry, I don't mean dubbed as in translated necessarily. I just mean they had to do all ADR.
Overdid the voices.
Yeah. The replacing the original because maybe it didn't sound good in the church.
Right. I get what you're saying.
Or they had they might have had super thick accents, so you couldn't really understand.
Yeah, I get what you're saying now.
But I don't. It was in English though. I think.
English.
Yeah, I do.
It looks like the way their lips are moving is saying the things they're actually saying.
Oh yeah. It's just completely off on the timing and whatnot, which is super awkward. Yeah, I do think it was in English, though. I think you're right. But it's just maybe, who knows what it sounded like originally, because it definitely looks different now.
Yeah. So then, for the second time within 5 minutes of us knowing her, Lisa, drops more shit off the scaffolding.
Dude, you would be dropping shit. I would be dropping shit.
Is that her thing? Oops, sorry.
She's an artist. I'm sure the great artists of old, when they painted things, dropped stuff on the floor. I do think it's weird. I thought it was weird she was doing it during a mass, though.
That was weird. I thought that same thing.
Well, she did it during the mass, yeah.
Yeah, and then like the bishop was like, "God fucking damn it!" Like you could just tell, like, why would you be doing this right now?
So Lisa has that parchment, and she shows it to Evan, right? And
Evan gets all horny.
Yeah, he's like,
it.
"Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!"
Yeah, it's really weird.
Well, they literally get horny about it.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's so
the next scene
up.
is like they go to the house and they're like, "Let's read about this parchment." And she's like, "All right, well then I'm going to take a shower and then then we're going to do our business."
It was just weird. Actually, on Wikipedia, I love this line. It says, "Bonding over a mutual interest in medieval art and architecture, the two start to make love." Like,
that's pretty good. Yeah,
just so that's
romantic.
all it takes. Oh yeah, nothing more romantic than old ancient parchment found in a basement.
Yeah, and when they're going to the house, I thought the driving shot was really funny because you can tell just they're in a still car, just with a light, with a yellow light kind of shining in the background. That's it. Like, it doesn't even look like it's moving at all. I'm like, okay, good try, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was, there's a lot of stuff like that where it adds up. It almost is like one of those things where I didn't even notice that kind of shit because there was just so much more egregious, like, goofs happening, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, I would say a very sophisticated film. They really hit
sophisticated.
Nail on the head.
For sure.
Okay, where were we in the plot?
So, well, I mean, we did we didn't talk about the dinner with the priests or whatever. How they like shunned
I remember that scene.
The father because he couldn't speak Latin. It was really weird.
Oh, Gus.
Like, look at you. You can't speak Latin.
Father Gus.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's good that you brought that up,
Father
actually.
Gus.
Yeah, Father Gus is the like younger priest, I would say. He is a total badass, as we see from him shooting arrows.
Yeah, we'll bring that up later. Because that whole arrow scene really confused the fuck.
I mean, I don't know what the fuck that's about, to be honest. But I think it's just like Gus he's this tangential character early on, and you don't really know what the fuck they're doing. They have a really badass scene of him just walking.
Yeah,
with his briefcase.
So after
the music
scene where they go have their night together or whatever, it like comes back to the church and he goes and like packs up this thing and like walks through the city and then he goes out with his bow and arrow and he shoots at this thing and he has a vision of this knight running at him, this little midget at the end.
What the fuck?
And like
what did he
shot and like I don't know, I thought he was gonna be this badass.
I think that was a vision from God or something.
Night of holy arrows. I don't know.
Yeah, that was I mean, in hindsight, a little
really let me down,
right? And I mean,
because he didn't even use the bow and arrow.
Yeah, that was the extent of the archery, right? It didn't come back.
It really was.
It was just
let me down.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It was still pretty fucking cool. It's just to show that Gus is so cool. He does archery on his time off. He shoots the arrow through the target so hard.
Yeah, straight in the middle.
It has a vision of the
little
past.
midget archer knight.
Okay, hold on. Before we get too off track, we got to talk about, because we kind of skipped him. He comes back, Evan, right? When they're about to fuck, right?
Oh yeah.
He like randomly just gets this weird idea to like take a cylinder and like read.
Oh yeah.
So that's how he like cracks the code, and he's like he reads the Latin
because it's backwards.
Yeah,
we did it in reflection.
That's right.
And it means like the seven-eyed stone.
The stone with 7 eyes.
Yeah. So and he's like, and he says it, and it's so corny. He literally is like, "I've got to find the stone of 7 eyes." It's like just a really bad read from like a PS1 era video game. I don't know. It was rough, but that's the setup.
Yeah, there it is.
Are you at that part?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. But yeah, he goes back to the church to his job, you know, but and I
Right.
guess everyone's starting to have weird visions and shit now because
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there's always that the little girl hears that horse,
Yeah, phantom horse.
yeah,
noises.
there's a
but then
there's
the priest does too.
right, it's the knights. It's like the literal
Yeah.
ghosts of the knights are
That
like
came in.
haunting the place. And I don't know if that's like I don't know. Like I guess I'm just having I don't want to look too much into symbolism in this movie for obvious reasons. It's pretty heavy-handed.
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
Kind of,
Yeah, the
it
horse.
kind of hits everything on the nose.
So Latte or Lotte or whatever,
I
she
think Lottie is fine.
Lottie, she sneaks out because she has a kind of like a secret passage that she can get out, so she can go clubbing, go downtown or whatever. And she comes back in, and her father, who works at the church as well, she comes in and he's like, "Where have you been? I locked all the doors. Your bed was not slept in." And she's like,
Yeah.
"I went down to pray." And he's like, "Dress like
Classic.
that." And I thought you could pray wherever, whenever, and however. So
Not when you're Catholic, I don't think.
Okay.
But yeah, it was some just classic abusive dad shit.
I really thought she was gonna run into the priest there because that's where they all heard the horse noises.
Right. Have
He fucking walks into her dad and he's like freaking out on her.
this
I
is
was
the
like,
thing. That,
okay.
it's kind of like it seems not important at all, but like her sneaking out to go dance and drink and smoke cigarettes is like extremely important to the plot because basically they keep repeating throughout the movie over and over again that like he even
She's sneaking out.
well also like the dad even mentions it that he's like I locked the door, you can't, how do you get
Yeah,
out?
there's
Like,
only one way.
yeah, like there's only supposed to be
Right, yeah,
one
that's true.
exit and entrance, and it's the same big door at the front, and that's like a major thing. But she has like this little secret. I actually think it's badass. That secret exit with next to the kind of like fountain.
The fountain thing, yeah.
I thought that was cool. I was like,
That is
Yeah.
cool.
that's the thing I liked the most about this movie was the just
Like
seeing,
it led to the sewers that led in somewhere.
yeah, it feels like a dungeon, like in D&D or a game or something. And I just liked seeing the whole layout and the way everything looked. That was probably the most fun part for me, was just the actual church itself.
Yeah, I like the design of it. Was definitely cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, so Evan goes and he does explore the catacombs, and he ends up finding a stone with 7 eyes buried in the cross.
Yeah, he finds
So,
the cross. Yeah,
He finds the cross that we see fall down at the beginning of the movie, kind of that
Right.
is
That
on
they
top of
buried.
all the buried
Yeah.
corpses. So he finds this seal, I guess, with the
Did
stone with 7
he
eyes.
just
right
walked
over it.
in there though. Like, was it hidden? I'm confused by that. He just walked
yeah, he
through
kinda
the
just went
gated
there.
area.
Yeah, he
with
kinda
the-
just
he
went
just
there.
yeah he walked through where they were doing like the remodeling or whatever.
Yeah.
And walked down into there and
What was the deal? So there's that like,
well, because he knew that's where she found the parchment.
yeah,
Because he did go down there to see her.
that's true. Because there's that weird shrine that where like the two
with the
hooded-
three.
Yeah, the hooded figure. Yeah.
three-
Well, at
three
first it was
guys
three.
are-
'Cause one was the bishop, and he was like
Right.
hiding there. But that's such a weird little thing. It's like odd. I guess
Yeah.
it's kind of important. But he kind of cuts through there, and yeah, goes down into some weird hidden area, and it's just like, oh yeah, here it is. Here's the thing I just read about. And yeah, he fucking just like he just like fucking cracks that shit open like a fresh can of
Yeah, he tries to
Snapple.
like wedge it out or something, and he like turns it and
yeah,
it like opens up, and then let's talk about that. Like he gets possessed and
yeah, fuck.
second,
Well, it's
like-
at first you just get kind of like the effect of like Pulp Fiction,
Well,
the
the-
briefcase.
The
where it's like-
cool, yeah. There's a cool blue light, and it's coming up, and it's like,
blue
ooh,
light, the blue
this is
light.
cool. And he
And
pulls
then-
out a sack from the hole, and then yeah, he's choked by a bunch of rotting hands, like all over.
Yeah, out of the sack.
very Evil Dead for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk though? Like underneath that cross, it's like just like this giant empty like void
Yeah.
of death. Like
Because that cross
It's
falls
really
real far, like blue.
Yeah, it's like-
it is a
Yeah,
void.
forever. It doesn't ever hit, does it?
no, it's like
Nope.
a trippy alternate dimension. I think that's like hell at this point or something. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or something like it, I guess. But yeah. So he basically lets the cat out of the bag almost literally here by doing this. This is the classic like Evil Dead, you shouldn't have read the book. You shouldn't have.
Shouldn't have
you know
done
what
that.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just his hubris for knowledge as a librarian. He just completely fucks up and unleashes this ancient curse.
Evil.
Yeah. And from there, it's just like a can of worms has been opened, and shit just starts to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then...
It goes down fast, kind of.
Yeah, because, like, doesn't he, like, call her... Because she's like, I'll see you after work. I'll leave the door unlocked for you or something. And then he, like, calls her from, like, a fucking... payphone, and then just starts ripping his guts out.
Yeah,
like,
he reaches in and pulls out his beating heart. That was metal as fuck. But then one of the best shots, is he holds it up, and the background is like this badass like red sky with like buildings. It looks like a Doom background, doesn't it? You know what I'm talking about?
Sick, yeah.
It looks amazing.
That's what I'm saying. I love all the visuals, and the effects are bad, but I like that, like that was
that imagery good. For that shot. But when he reached in and grabbed his heart and ripped it out, I was like, okay, this movie took an even further turn. I mean, it was already kind of like, okay, what's going on? But now it's like, okay, now we're just getting like completely fucked up.
We're getting weird. Yeah. And I think like, a lot of it is just you don't know what's real and what's fake. The whole time people are hallucinating and stuff, but it's safe to say from this point forward, Evan is like not himself anymore. He's been possessed by the demons, and now bad shit is gonna come their way.
Yeah, because while he's there, Lisa is at her house, and she sees this goofy ass looking goat demon thing at the window. Like it looks goofy.
No, that is really bad, yeah.
And she yells and she calls the police, and she's like, "Hello, police, come quick!" And they're like, and then
they teleport there immediately.
Well, yeah, I'm just laughing. She's like, "Please, he's trying to kill me," and I'm just like, "Okay, they don't know who you are, they don't know where you are," but then they magically show up. So that was convenient.
They traced her call within a matter of 10 seconds, and she jumps out the window, and they're just there. It's amazing. Yeah. That's how it's done. That's some like top quality response time. I guess I did skip one little thing.
I think we did. When he got possessed, you mean?
Yeah. So he got possessed, and Lottie was sneaking out, right?
And the father came down.
Yes,
and was looking for her, and then he knocked him out or whatever.
He just punches him in the face.
Yeah, that's right.
Then, so after that scene at the cabin, it flashes forwards to the father.
Yeah.
And he's like all sick. He's not feeling good. He's like,
sweaty.
He's got the he's like not doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to say, because now they're both like possessed, right? And it gives me I'm sure there's kind
of spreads from
it makes me think of like The Fly.
Like. A little bit.
And from like Stranger Things season 3, Billy, where he's got possessed, where he's all sweaty and just like
way
crazy.
More like that, yeah.
It makes me think of that, where he's like just sweating, like you just feel like they're so gross and like.
Yeah, they have a really bad flu and.
Yeah. You could tell they're both, possessed for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sets up that once you make contact with someone who's possessed, it starts to turn you, which is also like Evil Dead, where if you get a scratch or something, it kind of spreads that way. I was like very taken aback when he just punched the dad in the face.
Well, like after a while, it didn't even matter if you were scratched. It just seemed like
it was everywhere, all over the place. Yeah.
Possessed.
We are like, I'm definitely all over the place with this, but it's so hard to piece this plot together. Like it really is so confusing, and it jumps between so many different people. And it's all it's kind of like trippy. I like movies like this where it's trippy and like it kind of is just disorienting, because that's kind of the point. But this one definitely was really hard for me to keep track of the order. And the funny thing is, in my opinion, we're almost there, but like the movie really doesn't even get going and start until right around this time, like halfway through the movie.
Almost an hour in, 40, 45 minutes,
Yeah, and then it kind of becomes its own like new horror film where we're being introduced to tons of new people and stuff. And it's
yeah. Well, right before
really
we get a bunch of people in, so Evan is back at the church, and now he was already in the church, but he goes upstairs. He's the possessed version, and he comes in.
Evil Evan. He's Evil Evan.
Yeah, so
we're gonna call him that.
Maybe this was always in him, but now being possessed makes you a sexist, rapey asshole, because he's like, as they say, you can never tell with women. After he tries to like basically rape Lisa, and then he basically tries to do the same thing to Lottie.
Well, he tries to he was definitely getting real fucking creepy.
Let's see what's in your belly. It's like, let's not.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the poor girl runs to her dad, and her dad's half possessed now too, and so that's it basically just starts the whole cascade of everybody who you can't really.
There's the brides, all those 20 brides outside in the dresses, taking pictures.
Yeah,
and
they're doing a fashion shoot or some shit.
Plus, there's a tour. The kids are going through a tour of the church.
Yeah, let's break down
so we had some groups
because the model.
This is the part where I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Am I watching the same movie? Who are these people and why are they here? I seriously was like, what the fuck is going on? That's what I wrote down. Who the fuck are these fuckers talking about going to a concert? Why are we seeing this?
That's the major problem with this movie, is that this is the real movie starts.
Yeah, I was like, did we see these people before? But no,
it's kind of like in Dungeons and Dragons, where you just kind of all form your party, and you kind of gotta figure out how that happened.
A little bit.
That's how it happened. They just all of a sudden
show up at the same time at the church.
Yeah.
Well, the funny part to me too is the initial people who we think are our heroes are the villains, essentially.
Yeah,
which is kind of funny.
You're right.
You know, it's betrayal at House on the Hill, because halfway through. So the
betrayal happens.
Yeah, it's like that board game. That's basically it. And then all the people inside the place are we've got. But we probably let's break down the players, so to speak. So we have the model, because they go in and they're like, we need to take pictures in this church, but we got to lie about why we're here, or else we'll have to get a permit or some shit. And so they're taking pictures of wedding dresses for some reason.
Yeah,
it's not really explained. Then you've got, you said,
a teacher and a bunch of kids, and I was like, who the fuck takes it? I mean, I guess the architecture and stuff, but I just thought it was weird they went to this church. But yeah.
Well, that makes sense to me, but it would have to be after school, because they're there till late at night, and I can't imagine they're there for that long if they went but either way, there's a field trip, which arguably is a really shitty field trip, but I guess it's the history and whatnot, And then we've got a couple who are kind of just they're going through a thing, basically.
The one's
going to go to a concert or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, why are you talking to your ex? And then they're bikers or some shit. I don't really actually know much about them. And then you have an elderly couple.
And they're messing with a telephone or something.
They're just,
They're just being old,
They're literally cartoon old people, because the whole time he's just bitching about his wife and to her face, just talking shit, which is weird. And there's a lot of misogyny in this movie, I would say, based on Evil Evan.
So now all these new characters are thrown in at once, and you're like, am I supposed to know them? So that really, really threw me off. I was looking at the Wikipedia, did I miss something? I was like, nope, okay, all right, I'm in for it, I guess.
Yeah. Basically, here's the next part of the movie. It's
right. What's his name? The father goes and confesses to the actual father.
So his name, I think the dad his name is Herman.
Herman, yeah.
And
Herman, okay.
His position at the church is the sacristan, which I think is the person who's the janitor, basically.
Yeah, he also was seen taking the offering, so I guess he does that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's that type.
But he goes and confesses. And then, he bolts out of there, and
he tries to punch
the crowd
the
of the model and the kids and the old people, your party,
Yeah, exactly.
And sets the stage,
because
he just ran into me. He scratched me. What?
Yep. They all got
Oh,
hurt
yeah,
by him somehow.
yeah.
But he does say while confessing, he's like, I'm evil now.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to be this.
Yeah, he's like, I've lost all my faith and all this stuff. And he's like a very sympathetic character because,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like
he's
he's
an
not-
asshole, but like
he recognizes that he got possessed and doesn't
Exactly.
want to feel this way again.
he's like
he
a
still
super
has his human
God-fearing.
side.
Yeah, but he punches through the fucking thing, which I thought was funny. Like the
Confession.
thing. Yeah, the confession booth. And then just like Fiend said, just tears through and like somehow hurts like 5 people while doing that.
Yeah.
And then we get a pretty fucking crazy scene next.
Yeah, so before we move to that, I have to say,
Okay.
just to give a little bit of credit to this character, I thought that Lottie's mom had some of the best lines in this movie. Just right where the dad was like basically beating the daughter. She's just like, "Come back to bed, Herman." And then later on, she also says, "Don't keep me waiting on those onions." And I just thought that was
she
so
literally gives zero fucks.
Wasn't that like
to her
when
daughter.
he was taken to go beat her in the
yeah,
room? She
and
was like,
she's just like, "Don't keep me
"Don't
waiting
keep
on
me
those
waiting
onions."
on those onions.
I thought it was
She's
so
like,
funny.
What?
She's just rolling her eyes like, "Oh, Herman, beating our daughter again. I can't. What am I going to do?"
It's
with you?"
Herman. He's just being Herman.
That could be a sitcom.
And he also had, when he was basically beating her, she looked at him and saw like a red monkey demon face thing on him.
God, yeah.
Also really goofy looking. So we're 2 for 2 on really goofy looking ass demons.
I will say though, it does look goofy, but that's like pretty much par of the course for like these Italian.
That time. Oh,
like,
okay,
horror
yeah,
movies.
okay.
Yeah, like they're all like super corny. This is just in addition to having that corniness, it's like terribly like dubbed and also just doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
Yeah.
It tries way too hard to be scary and it just you can't be scary with the Muppet puppet thingies. Like
Okay, you can't be scary when you take a jackhammer to yourself.
Yep, and that
That's
leads
it.
right into it. Yeah, so
dude just
Let's
goes,
talk about that whole scene.
how do you even do that? I don't even know how that's physically possible because it would just fall over. But like, I guess you could. Like,
You'd
I've
have to
never
hold it up
operated,
and like,
but
yeah,
isn't
I
there a
don't know.
thing to like? Isn't
yeah,
there like a
there's like a
safety?
trigger. Yeah,
So someone,
Imagine.
OSHA or whatever, was not on the ball with
Right.
this jackhammer because it was just hammering his guts out of it. So we should clarify. So Herman like runs down.
yeah.
And
After he runs through everybody and scratches them.
Yeah, and he basically, I think, is like, fuck it, I got to take myself out of the. He like he knows he's going crazy and being possessed, so he wants to like kill himself. I think so. He just straight up just takes the jackhammer that was earlier in the film that Lisa was using or having people use to somehow restore the church, and just falls on it like a sword or some shit, like seppuku's himself. And it's on, and I believe Gus like just runs down.
Yeah, he finds him or whatever.
He was the one who he was confessing to Father Gus, and
yeah, Gus
he
comes
runs
down and
in
is like, no,
just in time to see like it just going right through, and it's really shaking around on top of that seal and stuff, and
yeah, it goes into the corner of the seal of the cross and just like starts bringing it down.
yeah, basically the vibrations and stuff, it like triggers this.
It's a Rube Goldberg.
amazing.
Rube Goldberg.
It's
machine.
totally a Rube Goldberg.
It's literally
totally
a Rube Goldberg machine.
It
Yeah,
is,
and they had that cool like Indiana Jones thing where it
Yep.
broke. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
fucking-
it's like
the
Goonies
water
shit.
trickling, or Goonies or something like that.
Oh,
Like,
it's so good. That's one of my favorite things. Like that's the stuff I like in this movie. It's
Yeah,
like
it was
it's
design.
basically it was alchemy shit. So like it was like a bottle with two things that react together and break the glass, which then trickles
Right.
down a thing and then causes all these counterweights and gears to go.
right.
It was fucking sick. But
It was
basically,
pretty cool.
that was like the ancient, like medieval equivalent to lockdown for this, which is hilarious
Well,
to think
yeah,
about.
because
Yeah.
it locks. Yeah, it shuts the
one,
doors and
The
Of
one
course.
singular door that's in the church. The only
which
one.
traps the model, and she's
Yeah,
like
oh.
suffocating the whole time.
So yeah, the model's in this dress, and it like the gears just start winding up her dress, and like I thought the first time I ever watched this, I thought we were gonna get a really gory, kind of crunch, like stuck between the doors type
yeah.
situation. But luckily, she's just really, really squished, which still is bad. But like the dress is just constricting her.
Yeah, she's just having a hard time breathing.
So she's like, "What the fuck, guys? Let me out of here!" And they're like, "Well, we can't hurt the dress. This is like a really expensive dress." And she's like, "I can't fucking breathe."
And then the fucking stone flips over on the little thing at this time. On where the
oh yeah, that's true. So that also
figures are.
Yeah, so the shrine, like, there's all this cool, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's not steampunk at all. It's more just like ancient, like, mechanical stuff that reminds me of like the Mummy and shit like that. Like where it's just like, how does this work? But yeah, so basically a plaque like flips and it starts. It has like this Latin stuff, as you were saying. That
this is 1 second. It's coming up here.
Oh, are we keeping up with the film as it's on?
A little bit.
That's pretty amazing.
Gotta keep bouncing back and forth.
It's kind of like, if I remember correctly, it's basically just explaining that the history.
It was intended that the secret should remain buried in oblivion for thousands of years.
Okay. So, yeah, so they obviously didn't intend for the demons to get out, but it seems like this is kind of like a fail-safe type thing where if it were to happen, the church shuts, like the door's shut, and now we have the church filled with these random, like basically a motley crew of people who don't really interact a whole lot apart from their individual groups, but they're basically all trapped in the church other than Lottie, who is out partying.
So that's what happens. So the quote is, if it has become before your eyes and the terrible truth is then vivid, evil has graced the land, has taken the form as we known as demons.
I thought that.
So that's just creatures that we call demons.
So this really is like Demons 3, basically. I mean,
right.
It's just like so obvious that the premise is close enough, But yeah, so after that, all that badass mechanical shit, we're actually into the second half of the movie, which is where it's more exciting.
And we get another goofy looking monster. We get a weird like fish reptile thing.
Okay, that was fucking hilarious. There's no way
she like drinks from the fountain or whatever.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot.
Is that when you're talking about?
I
just remember some weird fish reptile thing bites some dude. Is what I wrote down. Like it looked goofy as hell.
I remember Lisa or someone getting a drink and then pulling it out of like the fucking. Maybe I'm mixing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too when Lisa got that drink.
Yeah, I mean the monsters are they're fucked up, but also I'd want to say like if you look at the frescoes that were being restored, a lot of the monsters actually kind of look like the shit on the walls, like the really weird medieval style painting. So it's almost like they almost look like the
they're
medieval
trapped in the walls.
Yeah, there's a part coming up where like the frescoes like deteriorate again and then
disappear.
Yeah, so I took that kind of as like the demons were taking the form of like what people saw demons as, I guess, from that time period.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not really sure. That's my headcanon completely.
Right.
I just thought that would be cool if they did. I mean, it really is just they look like goofy ass prosthetic monsters, but I guess the best thing I can say about them is that they look like medieval style frescoes. So that's neat.
Then I have to say my two favorite parts of this movie happen right here. They're right back to back. Okay.
Yeah, they're probably mine too.
My God, so funny.
Can we just say this is just the chaos and insanity of the demons possessing everyone and making them do fucked up shit. It's kind of just like it's just everything breaks down and shit doesn't make sense anymore at this point, I would say.
So the Herman guy, this is something you have to watch the scene. Like if you're listening to this podcast, the full movie's on YouTube. You can watch this on YouTube. I found it.
I did not realize
you have to find this scene. I don't remember where it is exactly, but Herman, who's possessed now and he just killed himself with a jackhammer or whatever, comes up
reanimated.
And there's this synthy music playing. He's running with a spiky fence
Well, he takes
thing.
the fence from the shrine,
Yeah,
which is weird.
he's running.
and-
The shots are like this weird, like it's like a point of view kind of thing, and he's going to kill the like model who's trapped.
She's stuck in the door.
But
still.
then he stabs into the teacher who's there.
Right.
So the teacher lost her glasses, and then she picks him up just in time to stand up and get stabbed in the fucking neck.
But
see, this is the problem with trying to explain this movie.
You have to see
all over.
the combination of the music and the way they framed all the shots. It's so funny. Oh my god, I lost my shit.
Yeah. There's so many times where you know that it was supposed to be this big shock, but it's just like you just laugh.
It's just hilarious, unintentionally
it's like a shock
hilarious.
Moment.
And then right directly after that, my other favorite part.
What are the kids and shit doing? That's what I want to. They just witness the teacher.
One of the kids is
die.
playing trumpet. There's a
That's
kid.
what I'm saying.
There's a kid playing some jazzy shit on trumpet, while these other two kids are like having a heart to heart. Remember, they're just like, "It's gonna be okay."
That was so weird because it was like sexual almost. Like,
and I'm like, what is going on?
Well, one of the kids was like a doppelganger of the other, though.
Oh, is that what's going on?
Because they're best friends or whatever, but it's like
because he was saying the thing about the best friends thing.
You'll see yourself in him or something.
That's right.
How does that make sense?
He like transforms into his friend or whatever, and it was like
weird.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's so trippy. This would be one that would be, I think, would be a really bad acid trip if, like, just to get back onto the stoner metal thing. But I might be wrong. I think
talk about. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, that moment was fucking insane.
And when everything
kind of. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say when everything is going down in the church as well, like when everything starts being possessed.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite parts was when that couple that argue and she goes and wanders away, and then he has a vision of her like being naked,
like fucking
with
a
the
gargoyle.
With a
gargoyle thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like supposed to be like when movies like, you know, it's like they're playing with your head and you're seeing things, but it's like when you have a full-sized puppet like that, I don't know. It doesn't have the intended effect. It's just so fucking funny.
It's weird.
Yeah. And then it's also really funny, the old couple or whatever, the old
oh god.
lady,
yeah.
she says
that was messed up.
I love that.
They're
so
like
much.
going up to what, the bell tower or something.
They go up into the tower.
Yeah, I just love how she says it's a groovy idea, because he's like, this was a bad idea or something. He's like, no, it's a groovy idea.
She says everything's groovy because she says, have a biscuit. They're groovy.
And then, yeah, the
like
husband, and then the husband calls her an old cow. I was like, wow. The men are just terrible to like all the women in this film the whole time.
Okay, and he called her an old cow, but she was beating his head on the bell tower.
Oh my god. Yeah, so they go up there and it's okay, so first, that is definitely what happens, but right before that, okay, right, don't they kind of reveal all the backstory.
All the plot comes out at once, yeah. So here's the deal. So
go ahead. As they're like all the people are getting tormented by demons and going off on their own thing.
Oh yeah, the
Gus,
father and the bishop or whatever.
Yeah, so the bishop's like on the roof in the rain in the storm, and he's just like kind of brooding, upset, and Father Gus is like, Bishop, we gotta fucking do something, get out of here. Like, people are going crazy. I don't know what the fuck's going on. And it's kind of the bishop kind of reveals he knew about all of this shit.
Yeah, what was underneath and everything, and like,
yeah, and he has, it's his dirty, dark secret. But basically, Gus is like, okay, well, what do we have to do to save things? And he's like, well, this church was built by this architect who was like an alchemist and basically made the church as a way to trap demons that were, you know, trap below the Gothic church.
Yeah,
but the bishop, exactly, it would trap. So he's like, well, why would you? Demons aren't allowed in churches, so how does this work? And he's like, well, it keeps them trapped in to save the outside world. Which I'm like, that premise is badass. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. I thought that was cool. That
cool,
was the reason why they built the church on top of it, was to like trap him.
It's super cool. And like the architect playing into it. And basically the bishop has like all the important stuff with him.
Yeah.
And
he's got the scroll or whatever.
Yeah, the schematic and whatnot. And and Gus is like, okay, well, let's fucking do this. Let's save that. We got to knock down the church to fucking save the world, basically, to kill everything inside. And the bishop's like, no, I fucking hate everybody and everyone's evil, so I want to like let them be punished for their sins. Basically, it kind of goes into mad Disney villain again. I mean, from the beginning, you're like, this dude is evil, obviously. And then the motherfucker just rips that shit up and fucking falls off the top.
Got him. Saruman.
So that brings into like the next part when Gus
Definitely
is like,
Saruman death.
He yells at God and he's like, "What must I do?"
Yeah, he's like, "Show me a sign."
I was like, use the Force.
I was literally thinking that scene made me. I was like, it's Mace Windu versus Palpatine from Episode 3, except Mace Windu won because Palpatine jumped off and killed himself like Saruman getting impaled on a spike.
He got impaled just like Saruman.
Yeah,
right.
Right when I saw it, I was like, dude, it's like he's the Emperor being revealed, and he's Mace Windu, and he's like here to like arrest him or whatever. There's just no Anakin to come in.
Well, he just wanted answers, and then immediately it's like pretty obvious, like everyone is just fucking insane. So Gus ends up being our hero, essentially.
Cool, because like, so the tip off was the
archery.
Not the archery, but like
I know, but he's
where you can find
so
the key is in the architect's mouth or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah. So he basically takes like the shredded remains of the bishop's, thing, and he's trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out, yeah.
It all this is where it gets really hazy for me. I don't know about you guys, but it's just a bunch of shit happening.
All at once, yeah. It's all out of order.
Grim, can you lead us through this nightmare scenario? Okay, thank you.
All right, so then another really, really funny part. The concert goers are they're digging underground trying to like find a way out, and then the ground gives way and the girl is like holding on to the boyfriend's hand. He's like, I got you, just don't let go. And she's just, in this hole or whatever. And then
dug down
there, aren't they?
Well, she's hanging and he's like on the he's
and
above.
How did they
he was
there?
Still hanging and just holding on to her. I don't know.
Yeah, they both fall down and they're both hanging below. But I'm saying, how did they even get like crawling through?
Well, he finds like a secret passage to find like a way out. He's like, "Oh, there's a tunnel back here. Let's go."
Right, and then they just end up on like this dirt floor,
like they're in the sewers, basically.
Yeah, and then so they both fall and are dangling, and then you see this like light coming.
Yeah, and then I No Leaf Clover starts playing by Metallica, and it's she gets fucking nailed by a subway train.
They both do. They're
right.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Well, I thought I saw him run away.
I thought it was just her, but maybe they both did. Either way, that was pretty brutal. Like,
I mean, if you're holding
they're both
on,
hanging there.
Yeah, they are.
They probably both.
He's hanging on by that little piece of iron, with his one hand.
Yeah.
So I assumed they both died. But then the next scene when it goes back to the church, I thought I saw him running across in the helmet. So it really confused me. I was like,
remember.
Well, also keep in mind, basically everyone who dies just gets comes back fully possessed. So because we end up seeing like basically everyone except for the kids, because there's kind of this evil black mass thing going on under the church.
Yeah. Well, also.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, then also the bride model girl or whatever, she looks in the mirror and sees herself as an old lady, and she's like, I'm not an old lady, I'm young. And she starts ripping her own skin off her face because she's like terrified by seeing her old, ugly self. It's like, oh, this is kind of disturbing.
Yeah, basically the demons find a way to get, like, from the old couple, for her cutting her husband's head off and beating it against the bell to the model like being shown like they're all like kind of seeing their worst fear and what frightens them, I guess,
she sees herself in the mirror and
she like rips her face off.
I'm not pretty, because she sees herself as like old and ugly and like wrinkly.
Yeah, and then I mean Lisa's like with her for that, but then she's just
being weird during that whole thing. She's like,
well, she goes under a trance and just goes down to the crypt, and Evan is like naked.
I need to find Evan. Where's Evan?
Yeah, exactly. And so Evan is down there he's been waiting. They basically
along with everybody that's possessed.
Yeah, and it just becomes this creepy like ritual fuck fest that happens in a lot of these like satanic like demon possession movies. And then of course, just like Rosemary's Baby, it's the fucking goat all along. He's here. He's here and he's horny. He's ready.
Yeah, because
and he just starts fucking her.
Yep.
On the altar, which I guess is part of some sort of like I don't think is that like we'll come back to it, but it seems just arbitrary, like it's just time to fuck. And around this time, Lottie comes back from the party she was at. She kind of just
she was at the club with her boyfriend.
Lottie at the party.
She was like, "You're a jerk.
Yeah,
I'm leaving."
Yeah, well, she kind of just magically gets a sense that something's wrong, and she's like, "Hey, give me a ride back or something," and he's like,
"Well,
no, I'm gonna."
She has the mind that's like trapped in her of like
right.
Girl
that's what's
from way back when.
Well, we'll get to that because that's
gets possessed by.
Yeah, but so there is some sort of supernatural element there, and she like gets back around the time that shit is really hitting the fan here, and she basically runs into Gus. And Gus is like basically they're the last two sane people.
The two people that aren't possessed, basically.
Exactly, yeah. And so he's like, "Bitch, you got to show me the way out of here because you keep getting in and out of the church somehow." And she's weirdly like not helpful at first, but I think she's just kind of shocked because I think when she came in, she like saw the whole orgy thing happening.
Oh yeah,
there's just lot
maybe she might have, yeah.
So I gotta go back to this. What are the fucking kids from the class doing during this? Are they just chilling? Aren't they just chilling up in the sanctuary?
I think so.
Playing trumpet.
That's just weird.
I'm sure shit's going down in the sanctuary, but you never really find out.
Because later you kind of see that the kids are like dead, wrapped up in the plastic from the which is fucking weird. So I just don't know anything that's going on, but I love it. So yeah, Gus. Well, here, I'll let Grim take it. You probably have better notes.
All I was going to say is Lottie kind of explains the past.
Oh, God, that's right.
Because she...
What Fiend was just saying.
She sees in the old picture the basket head, the girl who had the...
And that brings it all back. She's like, oh, my God.
Basket face.
Basket head.
But it's her.
That should have been the name of this movie, is Basket Head.
It's like her from the past.
So now we get to the point... Yeah, now we get to the point like what we were hinting at the beginning, like are all these people just like reincarnations of past people? You know what I mean? Like, or is she just the only one?
Well,
like
she might be. We'll find out later.
Yeah, I don't know.
So she explains about the architect who they killed everyone except the architect, and they like tortured him after he helped kind of build the church, but they still tortured him because he's still it's still blasphemy and alchemy and stuff. So they make this mechanism, to cause all this, right? To collapse. But they wanted him to, though, right? Like,
this is where it gets confusing to me.
But they just strapped him to it.
They make shoved it in his mouth, and it's like he is the mechanism.
I actually really like all that. I think it's really cool. I like how cheesy. I like the creator of the church is like buried in there, and it's almost like. So to me, it's confusing because it's like, did they tell him why he made the church, and he found out later, and that's why he was ranting?
He knew. He was like, I made this as you, under your orders, like.
So why are you?
It's like I made it.
Yeah, it's just like I guess the Teutonic Knights are just shown to be like these cruel villains with not a lot of nuance because they basically just kill.
Oh, he actually. I just skipped ahead. He's talking about how like. They're really the ones possessed by the devil. He's like, you don't understand alchemy. He's like, this is the devil's work. Like,
exactly. That's the thing is it creates this duality of like who really is the bad guy here or whatever. But then you have like literal fucking demons. Like, you know what I mean?
I forgot about that part. They put that torture device in his jaw and just
that's what I was saying. That's
as a huge nerd of medieval torture stuff. It's the pear. And you like jam that in there and then you can like twist it open and
it's terrible.
That reminded me of like in Silent Hill, the movie, when they were like hurting the little girl, like burning her to like.
Yeah. This also made me think of Silent Hill, where we're kind of talking about the like who's good or who, whatever. Cause
that's a little more obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it more as it was like the people who were killed by the knights. This is them getting their revenge or whatever.
That's kind of what I think it's supposed to be.
So it's like
But
the church is really the bad guys, and the demons and the possession are just revenge for what they did years ago.
The only thing that doesn't make sense is that, like, they're doing it for revenge, but they're not really getting revenge on anyone who deserves it. It's just like...
But it's religion.
But none of the people in the church, other than the bishop who kills himself, are bad people. They're just
true.
People who happen to...
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Evan, arguably...
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. I like the theory, but, like, it's not like anyone actually suffered who needed to suffer. I like the theory, but I almost feel like they're just fucking demons, and the knights were right all along. Like,
I guess you.
It's kind of exactly.
Right
the knights were right. They were trying to save the people. That's what I was saying.
Because how do you explain everyone having that mark on them?
Yeah.
Like, because the thing is, when the alchemist was being tortured, he was trying to say, like, you blame the plague on Satan, but it's just it's just science. Like, we just have to, we need medicine, not like kill everybody.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if maybe the mark was actually some sort of thing dealing with the sickness, but it's literally just like this weird.
Yeah, this demon. I don't know.
Exactly. So I
guess
you're right. It could just be literally there's demons.
Who knows what the fuck we're trying to say.
So Gus and Lottie, go down to the basement, and he's like, the fuck is going on?
Yeah, they're both walking by.
Because he walks by, and you just see the giant goat demon just going to town on Lisa.
Yeah, he's just railing her
goat
on
man.
And
he's
Lottie,
he's like, Wah!
Yeah, and Lottie, like, he doesn't even cover her eyes. He's just like, yeah, that's the thing. And then they just kind of just scoot right by, without even being noticed. Like, stealth check. Stealth 100.
And we got to talk
20.
Yeah. We got to talk about the orgy of rotting corpses that rises out of the floor.
Well, hold on.
I got that pointed out to me what that really is.
Well, don't say it yet. We got to get to it. So Lottie, they make it to her secret exit, right?
Right.
And he could just fucking leave, but he's like, I got to go back. And she's like, all right, fuck, bye. So she escapes. And then he just scoots right by the orgy again and goes back up and looks at that shrine of the builder. And he's like, well, what the fuck do I got to do to find where this thing is? And he just punches the plaque thing.
The mouth out.
Yeah, he pulls the paper out of the mouth. And I'm like, no one's done that ever.
It's
no kid has ever touched that. Like,
it was right there.
So that's the magical Indiana Jones key. He just pulls it out. And this triggers basically the true... I guess, like, it reveals the corpse of the dude, and it kind of is like the key.
Right.
It's like a kill switch, basically, for the church of like, let's just blow this shit up, As he's doing that, though, now you can talk about your giant pile of
corpses. It's making a giant demon.
Well, tell me that's not a Final Fantasy boss, right? That's
I know, but it's making a giant demon out of all the corpses.
It was making the shape of a body, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice. I just thought it was a big old orgy of rotting corpses.
Well, it kind of does, but then, like, if you notice, like, the guy in the middle is kind of like the nose.
The nose,
stuff.
Yeah. The funny thing about it is I took it as like, oh, this is the final boss. Like, it's the demon in the form of, it's basically a Final Fantasy like giant boss, basically. But
this would be the epic moment for Wizard Burial Ground to play, like, as the demon's rising from the ground.
But sadly, the demon head is just made out of like muddy people in their underwear, because it cuts from a pretty well made, prop that looks kind of gross and creepy, and then it goes to like live like people that are squirming on each other in a weird like thing, and they're just covered in mud and wearing tidy whities because they can't actually be naked, I guess, which they should have been, and it's just awkward as fuck. Yeah, it was once again something that I think was meant to be really disturbing was just kind of funny to me, but I like the idea.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
I like the
how
premise.
When he triggered the mechanism as this like thing is rising from the ground, he just, instead of running away and trying to escape, he just lets it fall on him. Like,
Yeah, it falls so slow. It falls so slow on him, and he's just like,
"What
ow.
do I do? Oh my god, I'm
Well,
trapped."
because he takes the so correct me if I'm wrong, but as that thing is coming up, he sees the thing in his mouth, and he takes that, right, and that's what triggers it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he has to take a thing out of a mouth like twice, and then it goes. But yeah, it is hilarious how, and that's when you see like the random kids and people in the sanctuary just like dead, like in the walls or something, and it starts to crumble, and he just takes it, man. Gus just lays down.
He was ready, I think.
Yeah, I think he just accepted.
Time.
It was his heroic moment, kind of, because Gus ended up being our true hero, despite kind of being disappointing that he didn't shoot an arrow into a demon head.
Yeah,
but
good old Gus.
Yeah, because
I'm really disappointed in that man.
Well, if this were a modern movie, if this were like a modern movie, Gus would like carry a bow and arrow the whole time.
Yeah, he turned into this badass like fucking holy
Marvel character.
He'd be goddamn
Arrow Man.
He'd be
Arrowman.
Archer. That's the word I'm looking for.
Legolas.
Oh, nice. He would have shot the final scene would have been like him shooting an arrow and hitting the alchemist in the mouth.
Oh, definitely.
And that trigger. It would have been like way more like over the top.
Right.
Like
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, and what we got instead was a very weird scene of the church crumbling. The only one who makes it out is Lottie, and we are basically greeted with the ruins of the church as presumably the evil is destroyed.
But Lottie's in the church ruins for whatever reason.
She was bringing flowers for her dead parents, who she
right.
misses, I guess, even though he beat the shit out of her, and every time she hallucinated something evil, it was her dad, because it scared the shit out of her. But either way, she's paying respects, I think. It looks like she comes like every once in a while and puts new flowers in or something. But yeah, kind of dumb to go back there. And she's just
fucking the sigil, the fucking
stone with 7 eyes or whatever.
Yeah, the goat head with 7 eyes comes out.
It's magically in a different place in the church,
of course.
And then you get your blue glowing aura again.
Yep. And
but then she smiles.
She smiles.
Yeah. So
she's
not
the one that did it the whole time.
That's the
She's
thing.
The demon. She is the demon.
What are they trying to say? That's what I want to know. Like she was
the one in the beginning.
I know, but
I think she was the demon in the beginning as the little kid, because that duck was making noises too, and she was like, "Shh, be quiet,"
So you're saying
that duck was making some weird noises.
It was like meowing. It wasn't a duck noise.
No.
Well, that might have been part of the overdubs.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe
they just had a cat on hand. Yeah, but what I'm saying is like I get that she's from the past and she's here in the future, but like, is it implied that she is wanted all this to happen?
I don't know, right?
Or is it just that's a demon? I don't think she was a little demon when she was a little girl, because she talked about in the flashback she had that they were sick. They were sick. They weren't evil, and all the knights like murdered them for no reason. So was she smiling because like as Grimm said, they did get their revenge?
That's what I'm going with.
I guess
it's too messy. It's too messy to understand. Like, and I love movies with weird, like kind of complicated, but like symbolic. Yeah, but it's like it tried to spell it out for you, but failed, because I still don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, it's almost too open ended. It's like, what's the actual answer here? What's the, I don't know.
Yeah, and I guess that's what's kind of weird to me is like it's trying to say that the knights were evil while at the same time using evil as a symbol of revenge and stuff. But then once again, they didn't actually get revenge. So maybe
they got revenge on random innocent people mostly.
But now I guess if we take the movie at face value, which I think you should, I think she's smiling because now she's possessed and like all the demons are loose and are gonna just take over the world.
Yeah, that
I think that's all it is, because I like the idea. I think if it had been more sophisticated as they wanted, it probably would have been more about like what you were kind of saying, because holy shit, this movie.
But overall, I liked it, even though it was weird and out of place at times.
Totally,
it was pretty cool.
That's good. I'm glad you liked it, Grim. What do you think about it? Let's get our overall thoughts.
Well, overall, I liked it as well, but I'd say it's not really a good movie.
No,
but it was fun to watch. I think it was very fun to watch. To me, it feels like the perfect movie that you watch right around Halloween time. You put it on, kind of like, you're just hanging out and you're like, guys, let's check out this weird kind of horror movie. It's like, what the fuck am I watching? This is goofy and disturbing. It's perfect for that right around Halloween time, but it's fun, but it's not really good in my opinion.
Well, it's not a good movie, but I enjoyed it because I could see where they were going with it, but
exactly
the execution was just not there.
That's the thing for me, is that the premise is so cool. Like, to me, it could be like, this could be like the prequel. This could be
an awesome movie.
Well, this could be like a prequel to like the Diablo game. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
that's true. Yeah.
Like, but if you had, just changed some things, like the biggest problem for me, like, I'll agree with you guys. I like it overall. As a movie on its own merits, it just doesn't tick the right boxes, and it's just too messy. A good movie doesn't start halfway through. There's just too much time of it being just this boring slog of Evan doing library shit, and there's this, and then all of a sudden it's just a completely different movie. I don't know how you'd even fix it. It's just so messy and hard to keep track of. And I love the movie. I've watched it like 3 times now, and I still can't remember details about it. It's just, it like turns your brain to mush, which made this podcast really hard to do, because I was like, okay, what the fuck happens next? Because I don't fucking remember. I just remember at some point a fish jumps out of a fountain and it was weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved the way everything looked. The music kind of sucked. And I'm a huge fan of like Goblin, the other soundtracks that they've done.
Actually, yeah, I wouldn't say I loved the music, but I liked some of it. But the thing is, it felt like there were only like 2 or 3 tracks, and they play the same, like I felt like I was hearing the same songs the whole time. But yeah, it's not like I loved it, but I didn't think it was too bad music.
It kind of added to the hilarity of it, because the music sounded
very
so cheap.
Goofy, yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like you can't have a scene of just slaughter and then have the music. I mean, I know that's used a lot in movies, like play like a cheery song and then show like brutal stuff. But this is just almost jumps that completely and becomes just pure comedy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I would say that I liked it. It was funny. It had some neat shots and an interesting idea, like a good premise, and it had some great deaths that were funny to see. Negative-wise, it was hard to follow. It had random characters just showing up and awkward dialogue. Those were my kind of like positives. And
what would you say? What would you say is your favorite scene if you had to pick one? I think I know mine.
I'd say the arrow scene where I thought Gus was going to become this holy archer of awesome.
It's true. You see him almost as like this paragon, like he's like going to become this amazing knight of justice.
And it's just nothing. It's nothing. It doesn't even come back.
It's so disappointing. But it's another favorite scene. Despite how cheesy it was, the occult setting and stuff, I really liked the dungeon with the whole sex scene, like with the goat and stuff, just because it looked cool and stuff. Like,
it's basically exactly, they nailed all the aesthetics there, like all the candles.
Yeah,
they've got all the stuff. I mean, it's cheesy. It feels like a 60s. This is, I think, the problem. It's an late 80s movie that feels like a 60s.
Yeah, I thought it felt a lot older than 89 for sure.
That's, I think, the thing is, it feels like you describing that, like, to me, just kind of made it clear that it's like a 60s, because during the late 60s, there were just so many corny ass movies about witches and covens and Satan possessing people, like The Blood on Satan's Claw and all these different ones. And it's just like that. Like, even the effects are just like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
That scene is awesome, though. It's super awkward how they're just walking by it too and don't get spotted at all.
What's your favorite scene then?
Okay, I think mine like if I'm gonna just go with one scene, it would probably be when the Rube Goldberg machine gets set off, because I just love seeing like the machinery work and like the bubbling.
Oh
liquid and
yeah,
stuff.
that whole scene was pretty sweet.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that
I
was
just liked
awesome.
seeing. I liked seeing the that the church is like on the outside. It just looks like a regular cathedral or stone church, but in the walls and like underneath it and all this stuff, there's like all the secret hidden stuff.
Right,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, that stuff
And I
is
think that's-
cool.
That's really cool, and that's when I really was like, okay, this movie is really cool, because it was basically just really cool scenes, but that don't make much sense when you start putting them together, unfortunately. My other favorite scene is obviously the bell tower lady hitting.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that was fucking
That was
hilarious.
just
Let's
too
be real.
great.
yeah.
Okay, so I think we all kind of have
What-
a
what-
similar.
What about my favorite scenes?
Oh, I thought you said yours. Go ahead.
Well, earlier I kind of mentioned it. I'd say my favorites is the combination of the Herman running in with the fence and stabbing the teacher.
Oh god, yeah.
Just because the music and the shots are it make it so funny. And then right afterwards, the kid playing
It's
trumpet.
slapstick.
That combination is perfect. Or just the opening, the first like 10 minutes. That's a whole. It's just so
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yes. So over the
Yeah.
top. So those are my favorites.
Okay, those are. I mean, I agree with you. I almost think we all would basically agree on all the best parts, and that's the thing is like somehow I thought this movie might be kind of polarizing, like someone might just hate it, but then we all kind of came away with like similar thoughts that it's not a good movie, but it's really fucking fun and
Fun, yeah.
a fun time. So on that note, how about we start? Let's try and come up with each of us come up with a rating for this.
Well,
So,
okay. Well,
how
what are
about-
we doing it out of? Or how are we
Let's
doing
do
it?
seven goat eyes on a stone out of 7. How many eyes
how many
out of 7?
How many out of so it's out of 7, okay.
Yeah, because it's the stone of 7
Stone of
eyes.
7
right?
eyes.
Well,
okay.
then obviously 7 eyes.
That's max.
No,
You wanna
I'm
give-
not, I know. No,
Okay.
I'm just saying, but like
You want to unleash
'cause
the demon?
goat with 7 eyes. Yeah, it's
Well,
in
what
the
if-
movie.
Okay.
Well, ours might add up, and then we might
Oh
unleash.
shit! Well, yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
We might unleash
Grim,
the
You
demons.
start. You start.
Yeah,
What's
what's
your
You want
rating?
all right, I'll go ahead and go first. All right, so here's my thing with it. When you look at bad horror movies, because bad horror movies are like fun, so they're good also, right? When looking at bad horror movies, this really doesn't come close to some of the worst ones out there. And when you look at good horror movies, this really doesn't come close to some of the best ones either. So if we're putting it out of 7, I'm going to give it a 3.5 eyes out of
Right down the
7.
middle.
Yep.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah, it's true. Horror, you have to think about horror different than other genres, because sometimes things are so bad they're good, like this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes things are so good that people think it's bad because it's trying to take itself seriously, and then you have everything in between.
Yeah, but
So-
this one, it's not like it's so bad that it's so good.
no.
It's just bad, but like fun. And it's not
Has some
really,
fun
really
moments, yeah.
good. So yeah, I would give it right down the middle.
Right on. I think that's a really fair rating. So how about you, Fiend?
I was probably gonna say about 3.
Okay.
Just because, like, yeah, I mean, it's basically all the same thing. Like, it's good, and I like it, and like, I had fun watching it. It's just the execution is terrible, and you get so lost in the story.
That's the biggest thing, I think, is it's just like a nightmare fever dream. I think that must have been their intention, but
It
who
had
knows?
to, man.
I'm going to go a little higher than you guys, I think. I'm going to give it
Oh
a
shit!
5 out of 7.
Nice.
And that's mostly, here's the thing, because for me, the visuals of the church and the premise and like the underlying lore, like Fiend was saying, there was just so much promise and like so much you could have done with the premise, and like it's a really cool idea, but they just they failed to execute it.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
had
it
a
kinda
really
fell flat.
cool. Yeah, like, where they shot it was
Exactly.
awesome. Like the church was cool. Like the aesthetics and everything. Like,
Yeah, like it's so cool looking, and I love like how almost most of the like anytime they're in the church, it's got like that cool candle glow and stuff. It feels like you're in a movie that would be the setting of like a lot of my favorite games, like Diablo and stuff like that. Like you get to be inside of like a church.
Yeah.
And I love that. But then all the other shit like the story that doesn't make sense and trying to make sense of things. And honestly, for me, it is disorienting, and I like that in movies, but that's why for me, I just had to knock it down a few eyeballs on the stone because it just wasn't executed perfectly. And if they had stuck the landing, this might be one of my favorite movies because it has everything I like in a horror movie, basically. It's just kind of shitty. So doesn't quite cut it.
Yeah.
So yeah, what does that add up to? We had a 5 plus 3 plus another 3. So it's like 11 and a half start. So yeah, I think we just unleashed all the demons from below our Vortex Church. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oops.
So final note, do we recommend this movie?
Yes.
I would recommend it, yeah, especially around this time. Put it all right, you're listening to this, you're like, I want to watch like a kind of goofy, old, kind of, I guess, weird horror movie, but I don't know what to watch. Throw on The Church.
Unless you're watching with kids, probably.
Well, yeah, I guess.
It's just the goat fucking is just so
It's a part of life. It's a part of life.
Just shield their eyes.
Get used to it.
Let the boy watch.
All the demon goat fucking is it's part of life.
Exactly.
It's a part of growing up. All right, another Swirlpool in the books. Let's do some plugs, I guess. Fiend, you can see him on the channel. We have a horror cocktail thing coming out. It's gonna be pretty sweet.
That's cool.
And
yeah,
all 3 of us are in it for Halloween. It'll probably be dropping around the same time as this, but that was a lot of fun to do. My stuff, I'm Zompire Wolf on basically all of social medias, and that's basically it for me.
All right, you can, obviously, most important thing, follow on YouTube, youtube.com/GrimChorizo is the Vortex channel, the official channel there. From there, you can get to the Discord for the Vortex up in the banner. You can follow the Vortex on Instagram at Enjoy the Vortex. Also, Swirlpool Podcast on Instagram. You can follow myself, Grim Chorizo, on Instagram at Grim Chorizo. So there's some stuff if you want to follow some stuff.
All right. I don't have a sign off. We need to come up with something.
Well, we got to say swirl you later, right?
Oh, that's right. I was going to say something up from the movie, and then I forgot about that.
We also should say something. We should just say like Happy Vortexween, swirl you later, or something like that, right?
All right. Well, we're out of here. Everyone have a good Vortexween, and yeah.
And we will swirl you later.
Swirl.